monthly.
Yeah, I mean, we made a decision to keep that.
I'd have to go back and find all those notes that we used to get. We used to get a list of Josh of all the expenditures that had happened or were going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, this would have been with the, when the original.
Yeah, you'd have to go back to that. I don't remember what it's for.
I will fight that. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
1/3 of this should be about a third of Jerry's stuff.
And the other third should be Paul's stuff. Correct. Yeah, no, we're on the same page. Should we should use, do drain filters around the lake to block the debris. Yeah. Yeah, I'd be a good use of that. We have such a problem up there.
Oh, I know. As soon as you can see it.
What about that resource?
They're still gonna get like that.
And we should, and we don't.
Well, that has been the residents.
Every storm? Yeah. You need a lot. I don't know if you're familiar with, but up on East Winfield, probably in the 814, 815, we own a piece of, the town owns a piece of land up there they just cleared. Because they were trying to divert water from the next door neighbor's driveway. That driveway dumps half a ton truck later, third into the street and into the lake every freaking storm.
Every storm?
How do you think every big storm, how do you can at that time to stone it, or do something
Jim knows how to fix that.
to prevent that runoff? It's a shit show. For years. And
It's on East
and
Wakefield.
lots of people have complained about it.
I don't know why. I'm gonna have Jimmy look at that. Around 800?
Yeah, he'll know because we just, the lot next door, we own and we just cleared it and put some, in the attempt to try to divert water away from that guy's driveway, where we own, where the town owned the land, so they were trying to solve that problem partially. But I will tell you, I've watched that guy bring a dump truck load of dirt in, and he grades it out, and then we get a big rainstorm, it's all the road, and heads into the lake, that cove.
Yeah, that's not good. I'm also worried about the plant life in that lake. You really have to be careful.
Well, we should be, there should be inspections at the launch, so everything else, because that's where it comes from.
That's a major problem.
I've heard
Start pouring the concrete.
it's at a washing station where we can build, and they cut the budget and get it.
They should be able to go to the
I brought this thing to they make you surround it in front of it before you can put it in.
because some of that contamination really could take you out here.
Well, the foil, the milfoil,
Yes.
was not native to that lake. It came in on a boat. I mean, it's, it depends sometimes.
Yeah.
We've been pushing all along. Danny's been pushing
Good evening. It is 7 p.m. Now I'd like to call the regular Board of Selectmen's meeting, public hearing for Monday, April 15th, 2024 to order.
Stephen Sedlak. Troy Lemire. Paul Marino.
Bob Geiger.
Todd Archelashi.
Glenn Albanesius.
William Hester.
Candy Perez?
William Pozo.
Mr. Hill led our pledge of allegiance a few minutes ago. Moving on to item 3, public hearing. Consider and possibly act on the town manager's proposed fiscal year 25 town budget. Bob?
Well, I think we all saw the budget budget as presented at the last meeting. So any recommendations or comments from the public is accepted, obviously at this stage. If any of the selectmen have any other changes or suggestions, I'd like to record those and examine potential action on anything that you might have.
Anyone in the audience wish to speak on the budget? Come on up, sir, speak into the microphone so they can hear you on YouTube and Charter Television.
Hi, Jim Biley, 144 Smith Hill Road, Winsted, Connecticut. We just have a few questions on the budget. I took a look at the latest one that was online, and the questions I have are about some of the numbers. And I think some of this has changed, you know, as it's starting to evolve. So Gilbert School charges $18,500 for each student. It seems excessively high. I mean, these kids could go to a community college for that amount. Also, there's an additional $426,000 that they're asking for additional benefits and pay for their teachers. Our school is asking for an additional $692,372 for additional pay increases and benefits. And I'm wondering if those numbers have changed, have they gone down, or they've stayed the same? If they've stayed the same, and you combined what Gilbert's asking and what our school is asking, the people in Winsted are gonna have to come up with $1,118,372 for these increases, unless those numbers have changed. And that's not a one-time thing. We'll have to come up with $1,118,000 plus every year going forward. Be somewhat like a credit card you can never pay off. So, if these numbers haven't changed, I guess that's what's going out there. The only other question I had is we have a few open-ended items that aren't quite finished with the budget, and those are the Gilbert School was supposed to give back $150,000, but they haven't signed off on that yet. So that's still open. And the money was no money was supposed to be taken away from the revitalization project. And the reason it wasn't going to be taken away is that there was supposed to be $2 million in reserves given towards that project. But that hasn't been approved yet either. And then there was something about a social services coordinator that we're hoping to get a $37,000 grant. So, two questions. Have any of these numbers changed, you know, that I presented? And also these open-ended items. If we don't get the money for these things, I guess our budget's gonna have to still go up, maybe an additional, you know, increase to the mill rate. So, if that makes any sense.
Yep. Well, I hear what you're asking. Let me address the Gilbert, the 150, that was settled. So the school offered, which Gilbert is a vendor to our school system. And our school superintendent from the pre-K 6, Ms. Shanley, worked with Gilbert. There was a $300,000 reduction from the original ask. I believe it was 150 from each portion.
Mr. Geiger, just for a point of clarification.
This is Melanie Shanley speaking.
Hi, sir. The Gilbert School still has not voted on that yet because so that is a pending situation still.
Okay.
But there's been good faith efforts around that conversation.
So to your point, but we anticipate that. I've never seen, after those kind of conversations, I've never seen that reversed, but I guess it's possible, but unlikely.
Okay.
So your bottom line number for the schools, the additional cost is $1,014,555. So if you want to write it, $1,014,555. That's what it was adjusted to.
$555, and that's combined from Gilbert and
That's
the Winston?
Correct.
Yes. That's a Board of Ed ask.
Okay, and all of that money is for the extras, for extra pay and extra benefits?
It's
correct?
for, not extra, it's to pay the current benefits, to pay the current salaries, to pay current obligations in special ed, and with their 300,000 cut, it was in the newspaper, and they talked about it at their meeting, there's loss of a few paraprofessionals and other people.
Okay, but is there not additional request for more pay increases and benefits?
It's just what's in the contract.
The union contract.
And what's in the contract? Now, what's the dollar amount? I'm just trying to understand, what we're gonna vote for.
Well, I guess you would have to, I don't have that budget in front of me, and I don't think we do, so you'd have to ask Mrs. Brady Shanley, because I'm sure she knows the exact numbers, but,
Okay,
She's taking a look right now.
so contracts are negotiated with the schools for, I believe, most are 3-year contracts.
yeah,
Most
Yeah.
unions here have 3-year contracts.
yeah, I understand that.
So I don't know what year they're in and what the increase was,
Okay,
so she'll get that.
all right, so when these contracts are developed, I'm assuming the Board of Selectmen, you guys, come up with that contract, or do you, at least in part?
No, the school system and the Board of Education decides on the contracts for the teachers. The Gilbert School decides on their own contracts for their teachers
Okay,
and custodians and secretaries.
okay, just curious how they come up with the numbers that they get.
Well, there's a school board for each system,
Uh-huh.
and then the heads of each school work just as I would as the town to collect what their expenses are going to be for the upcoming year and anything they think they require, and then they request that number to the town manager. But so Gilbert requests it to the school, and the school, Gilbert is a vendor to the school, Melanie Shanley School, and then she brings the total number forth.
Okay.
She has the answers for you right there.
Okay,
So the wage increase for all employees within the district was $493,478. And then on the benefits side of that, there was an increase on the benefits side of $162,608.
okay.
And it's very similar to what the Gilbert School has also for their wage and benefit increases also.
Are you a three-year contract, right?
All
For
of our
teachers?
unionized positions are, we have 7 different unions in the district. All of them have 3-year contracts, and then we have 1-year contracts for those that are on non-certified, non-union.
Oh, there's the number. That's about the total right there.
Okay. Okay, and I guess with the open-ended items that aren't finalized, it could conceivably bring up the mill rate if we don't get that money, but it seems highly unlikely, I guess, from what you're saying.
Yes, it does.
All right, the only other thing I'd like to say is, again, Mrs. Shanley, I know you've gone to bat for us with the Gilbert School a lot, and we all appreciate that. And also, Mr. Geiger, I'd like to thank you for going the extra mile with this budget. I'm sure it must have been a little bit of a nightmare with everything happening all at once.
Yep.
And most people, with only a couple of weeks left on the job, would be coasting right now. But you appear to be putting in considerable effort for all of this right up to your last day,
Thank you.
and we appreciate that. Thank you.
Who else would like to speak? Come on up.
And good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the Board of Selectmen. My name is AUB English. I reside at 97 Hinsdale Avenue in Winsted. And tonight I come before you as the new chairman of the Winchester Zoning Board of Appeals. Let me preface my remarks by saying I am speaking about a particular position, not about any individual. It has recently been brought to our board's attention that at the April 1st meeting of the Board of Selectmen, while the discussion was made on the upcoming town budget, that it was decided that the position of town planner in the Office of Land Use would be up for elimination. When I heard this information, I went to the YouTube channel for the town of Winchester to watch the April 1st Board of Selectmen meeting. At exactly 31 minutes into the meeting, interim town manager Bob Geiger, who I greatly respect, made the following proposal. Item E3, Department 148, account number 1-148-190-003-quadruple odd, Office of Land Use, eliminating the town planner position at a salary of $79,800. Now, as a taxpayer, I applaud any reasonable opportunity to save money for our town and to cut any unnecessary spending. However, in this instance, I strongly believe that eliminating the town planner's position would be a very great mistake. When asked by Selectman Sedlak as to the impact eliminating the town planner's position would be, interim town manager Geiger said that the position was created about 2 years ago, that the gross of the large projects from the land use office was down by the town manager. Anything smaller was handled through 2 other positions still in the land use office. One of the primary reasons why I've remained on the Zoning Board of Appeals for the past 6+ years is the fact that every application that comes before our board for a hearing to grant variances and special permits outside the zoning regulations pays the land use office in this town an application fee of $410 just to even get on our agenda to be heard. These property owners, architects, and other representatives of these property owners are not only entitled to be heard by our board, but are also entitled to the intention and experience of a full-time town planner who can lead these people in the right direction with the right legalities to build or expand their homes and their businesses. In addition, the volunteer-appointed board members of the Zoning Board of Appeals, as well as the other boards associated with the Land Use Office, looks to the town planner for guidance and direction, if necessary, in order for our boards to make decisions that are in compliance with state law and town and zoning regulations. We want more people in our town. We want to share with everyone what a wonderful town Winchester is and the plenty of entities we have to offer. We want new families to move here and to have existing generations of families such as mine remain here. We want people that will help pay our taxes, shop in our stores, and eat in our restaurants. I will reiterate, though, I believe that in order to successfully have these new homes and businesses, this town needs to continue to have the expertise services of a full-time town planner to lead our land office and keep the burden off the plate of the town manager, who already has more than his or her fair share to take care of in properly running the day-to-day operations on our town. I am now at about 3 minutes, which is about my limit to talk, but I will leave you with this. My 3-minute comment is about 1 minute longer it took for this board to decide to eliminate the town planner's position, and that includes Selectman Sedlak's question on the impact of this elimination. I urge you, honorable members of the Board of Selectmen, to recognize the great importance of the town planner's position and to please reconsider this proposed elimination. Thank you.
Come on up.
Holly Cassidy, 111 Torringford Street. I'm also the chair of the Gilbert School Corporation. Just for transparency's sake, I would like to let everybody know if there's questions regarding the Gilbert budget. Our 95-page document is out on the Gilbert website. It's under the About Us section and then School Corp. There's many, many details regarding the school budget there. Our tuition is actually not excessive. I believe I read in the paper that regional's tuition is $25,000 per student, and Housatonic, I think, is similar. So I would, beg to differ that we're excessive in our tuition per student. Also, our next school corp meeting is the 24th next week. We had to move it out a week because of school break, and that's where we'll be discussing and voting on the $150,000 cut. So that was the delay in us making an official decision on the $150,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly. Who else would like to speak? Come on up.
Good evening, Frank Oliveri, 108 Shore Drive. Mr. Geiger, thank you for doing what you did and doing. But I would ask is, I don't have an issue with one item or whatever. All I would ask is, it's hurting out there. I mean, we got the grand list last year. We thought we'd be doing better. We're not. Could you just review the whole, with your new supervisor, town supervisor who's coming in this month, I understand? And look at things. People are hurting out there. I mean, whether it's $1,000 here or $1,000 there, when you add it all up, 11% increase or opposed by what I read in the paper hurts everybody. That's all I'm asking. The next month, please give it your best to see if we have enough money to do what we have to do. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak?
Deb Kessler, 272 Gilbert Avenue. To echo what Mr. English was saying, I am the chair of the newly formed Historic Commission. And as such, we're a fledgling group. We have been tasked with what we believe are very important functions that will help benefit the community. Among them is identifying historic districts within the town, being able to use that to help get, tax breaks for our business owners, grants that will help to profit in utilizing these spaces better. We're also currently working on the 250th anniversary of the establishment of our country, and that's something also falling on our shoulders. I urge you to reconsider eliminating the town planner role. Lance has been a tremendous asset to our team, bringing in people that we would not have known how to make a connection with. We've had the State Historic Preservation Office come and speak to us and discuss things that helped us to understand where we were going. And he continues to bring that sort of knowledge and information to us. I think that aside from that, as just an individual who is interested in this community, he demonstrates that in participating outside of those working hours of the day and as a non-resident of the community. So if you can please reconsider that, we would be greatly appreciative.
Anyone else like to speak? Come on up.
Good evening, Board, Mayor. I'm Adam Quagliaroli. I live at 153 Old Robertsville Road, northeast corner of this town. And I am one of the newcomers of this town. I came here about 2 years ago and fell in love with an old house and the area. Needed full restoration, and I approached the town, and it was quite a project to begin. But I have to say that the town planner did help me out tremendously and showed me exactly what I needed to do to get my permit approved and who to approach. And I am well within your regulations, your requirements, and I'll have to say that it is on its way. And it's going to be a beautiful home. And in the process, I was encouraged by the town planner to also be on one of the boards. So I'm also on, zoning board. And I just want to say you should reconsider the elimination of that position, because I just don't see who would triage a person coming into the town hall better than that position to get them through and get us improvement of properties better than that position. I'd like to understand who would work that position otherwise. Thank you.
Anyone else? Last chance. Anyone else? Moving on from the public hearing. Item number 4, agenda review. I'd like to make a motion to remove item number 8, finance director's report, as she gave us the documents for the budget this week. I don't think
So
there's
moved.
anything new. Thank you.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Item 8 is removed. Moving on to item 5, the approval of our special meeting minutes from March 21st.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting on March 21st.
Thank you, Bill. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Bill. Discussion, corrections, additions? Seeing no discussion, all in favor? Unanimous? Can I have approval from the meeting minutes of the public hearing on March 26th?
So moved.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Troy. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Unanimous? Item C, approval of minutes of the special meeting on March 27th.
So moved.
Thank you, Troy.
Second.
Thank you, Bill. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Unanimous? Can I have approval of minutes of our regular meeting on April 1st?
So moved.
Thank you, Troy. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Bill. Discussion, corrections, additions? Troy?
No, all in favor.
Seeing no discussion, all in favor? Unanimous? Moving on to item number 6, the Board of Selectmen welcomes public comment. Speakers be limited to 3 minutes and may speak once. Please give your name. Who would like to speak? Seeing none, moving on to item number 7, the Town Manager's Report.
I'd love to have you say I've got a lot of other things to work on, but you can see all this, the budgetary information, the interaction with the selectmen and their recommendations, and my follow-through with that. And also on Tuesday, the new town manager did come down and spend most of the day with me last Tuesday. That's Paul Harrington, who will be starting Monday. So most of the week was spent with the finance director and a lot of interchange with several selectmen deciding how we can figure out how to get this budget lower. So we all realize we'd like to have it lower than it is, and we've tried to work on doing that, and that's the purpose of this meeting tonight, and a lot of the action that we spent all week long trying to figure out where else we might be able, how to make some lowering some of the suggestions that we've had so far. So we haven't finalized it, obviously, but we're trying to come close, and that's what I spent most of my time working on this week.
Any questions for Bob from the board? Moving on to item 9, correspondence. Anyone have correspondence for the board? Item 10, Steve, boards and commissions.
Thank you, Todd. We have a number of reappointments we're going to take action on. If you look at the information in your packet, under reappointments, I would move that we reappoint William Hudak to the Torrington Area Health District, term to expire in April of 2027.
Second. Thank you, Troy. Discussion? All in favor? Unanimous?
I would move to reappoint Brian Shaughnessy to the Recreation Board, term to expire in April 2030.
Second.
Thank you, Bill. Discussion? All in favor? Unanimous?
I move to reappoint Gary Paganelli to the Inland Wetlands Board, term to expire in April of 2027.
Second. Thank you, Troy. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Unanimous?
I would move to reappoint Matt Clausen as a member of Inland Wetlands, term to expire in April of 2027.
Second.
Thank you, Bill. Discussion? All in favor?
I would move to reappoint Joseph Beadle to RRDD 1, term to expire in April of 2027.
Second. Thank you, Troy. Discussion? All in favor? 601, I have to abstain.
Okay, moving on to no resignations at this point. Consideration, step number 1, the name of David Pine, who wishes to be a member of the Water and Sewer Commission.
Guess that's a write-in.
Don't have the term information on that one, but we'll begin the vetting process for David Pine.
We were missing that in our packet.
I just got it this afternoon.
Let's just
Moving
begin
on
the
to nominations on step number 2. I move to nominate Courtney Puckett as a member of the Cultural Commission, term to expire December of 2024.
I'll second.
Okay, and then I would move to nominate Ken Kozlowskis as a member of the Recreation Board, term to expire April of 2028.
Second.
Now, the next candidate, I have no nomination. If someone else would like to nominate David Lapointe as a member of the Water and Sewer Commission,
I'd like to make a motion to nominate David Lapointe for the Water and Sewer Commission, term ending 6 of 2029.
okay, and same candidate for a member of the Ethics Commission.
That's
Withdraw.
Withdrew the request for that. You withdrew that, Steve?
Okay, is that the change that you had, Glenn?
yes, that was one of them.
Okay, I missed that. And no appointments to be made at this time, so our usual plea that our boards and commissions need good, active, enthusiastic citizens to participate. So I invite our viewers and people in the room here to consider being on our boards and commissions. Let me just take a quick look at the commissions. For example, Architectural Review Committee is missing a member and 3 alternates. Conservation Commission, we have a 1 member pending, 2 alternates are needed. Cultural District Commission looking for 6 members. Economic Development Commission looking for 4 alternates. Good chance to come in as an alternate and learn how the commission works. Laurel City Commission, this is a real hot item because planning for the Laurel Festival is underway already, and they could use more membership on that commission. Recreation Board looking for 1 member, Water and Sewer for 1, ZBA looking for an alternate. So those are vacancies that good volunteers can help us out with. Todd?
Thank you, Steve.
Give a second to Troy's.
There was one.
Okay.
Moving on to item number 11, unfinished business. Item A, 24-11B, consider and possibly act on the adoption of the Historic Commission ordinance amendments. This is the 3rd of 3 meetings.
Right, so I asked the Board of Selectmen, please consider adopting the proposed ordinance change as they are attached. This is the 3rd meeting, as you know, to the historian positions and roles in this commission. If the board is in favor of such action, it can adopt the proposed ordinance at this meeting. The fiscal implications, there are none. There's no cost associated with this. I recommend that the board, I move that the Board of Selectmen consider the change to the ordinance regarding historians' positions.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Bill. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Paul. Discussion? No discussion? All in favor? Unanimous?
Todd, may I just mention something?
Yes, ma'am.
Just so you all know, the general code who hosts our ordinances online, the charter, the ordinances online for us, has changed their look a little bit, so you'll see a different look on the website, and they should have almost all of everything caught up by now. Because there was the driveway ordinance had lagged behind, well, driveway ordinance was eliminated, but it wasn't changed on the website with general code fast enough, because we're updating everything. That has moved to planning and zoning, but that's been all changed, and general code has updated it, and they run the website behind our, our system. So I just want to let you all know that.
Thank you, Candy. Moving on to new business. Item A, 24-18, refunds as recommended by the Collector of Revenue.
Okay, the Town Collector of Revenue has recommended that the refunds described in the attached correspondence, which you have in front of you there, be authorized in accordance with Connecticut General Statute, Section 12-129. The Board of Selectmen should authorize myself here to approve these described refunds. The described refunds total $77. There are 3 there that total $77 total. I recommend the Board of Selectmen authorize these refunds as recommended by the Collector of Revenue. I move that the Board of Selectmen authorize for me to approve this.
So moved.
Thank you, Paul. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Bill. Discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Item B, 24-19, proposed line item transfer.
Okay, the town of Winchester, as amended, provides for the intra-departmental transfer of funds. This is one that is occurring between the police department, two different line items within the police department. So I'm requesting that there are $6,000 in overtime drug investigations, line 1-021-197-0011, $6,000 total to be transferred to, within the police department, to line item 1-021-821-0000 for maintenance of vehicles. So a $6,000 transfer within that department. I recommend that you permit me to make this transfer.
Is there a motion?
I'll have that motion.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Troy. Discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Item C, 24-20, consider and possibly act on the appointment of a moderator for the annual town meeting to be held on Monday, May 13th.
Okay, the town's annual town meeting, as required by charter, is set to be held at 7 PM on Monday, May 13, at the Gilbert School Auditorium. A moderator must be appointed by the Board of Selectmen to preside over this meeting according to Section 313 of the charter. At any town meeting, the mayor shall preside unless a moderator is designated by majority vote of the board. There is no mention of a moderator under Section 1102 of the Charter, which outlines the items related to this. If the Board of Selectmen wishes to designate an individual to serve as moderator, now is the time to do so. Nominations and suggestions can be made from the floor. I ask the Board of Selectmen vote to appoint a moderator for this. No fiscal implications. I move the Board of Selectmen appoint Dennis Dressel to serve as the moderator at the annual town budget meeting to be held at 7 PM on May 13th, 2024 at the Gilbert School.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Bill. Is there a second? I'll second it. Discussion? Mr. Dressel has served as our moderator at previous budget town meetings. Any other discussion? All in favor? Unanimous?
Can I make a suggestion, please? I think that the document Glenn has prepared, that we've worked on last week, be put up on the town website so people understand what happens in terms of the process that goes through the meeting, because I think it would be helpful to Mr. Dressel.
Item D, definitely related to
Yes.
the
Yeah, I'm ready.
executive session, or are we doing it?
We can go ahead and do this. I'm going to request this now.
Okay. Item D, consider and possibly act on the Winrock settlement.
Winrock, i.e. Stop and Shop, there has been an objection from them about their appraisal value of their property. Our town attorney has been in process of negotiation, and I am actually asking you to approve my approval in conjunction with the town attorney for a settlement of that appraised value. So that discussion will occur next week, and you all have to either authorize my approval of said conclusion of that. I'm requesting that you do that.
That's the whole plaza, correct? Not just Stop and Shop?
That's the whole plaza. Winrock is the whole plaza. I believe that Kevin Nelligan has done a pretty good job of bringing that forward. I can't imagine that we would be unhappy with his conclusion.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Bill. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Bill. Discussion?
So I'm sorry.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
So we don't have a settlement amount yet, or we do?
We have a proposed, it's not in conclusion yet.
So we're voting to approve it, assuming it gets to conclusion.
Correct.
We're voting to authorize Bob to decide.
Gotcha.
All in favor? Opposed? 6-1.
That's it for me.
Item number 12, citizens' comments. The Board of Selectmen welcomes public comments. Speakers be limited to 3 minutes and may speak once. Please give your name. Anyone like to speak? Moving on to item 13, Selectmen's comments and reports. Selectmen.
Mr. Mayor, I wanted to address a few things. First, on Saturday, the Waterbury Republican reported the payout that was made to former town manager Josh Kelly, and I think it's important that the public understands a little bit about what happened and what we're doing moving forward to prevent that from happening. I think it goes without saying that the previous contract or the negotiation of the previous contract wasn't handled terribly well and allowed for a $90,000 payout upon his departure after only working for the town for 2.5 years. Todd and I have negotiated the contract for our new town manager. It was approved unanimously by this board in a bipartisan way and was also reviewed, and this is one of the areas that Mr. Kelly's contract was not reviewed by the town labor attorney. This new contract has been reviewed by the town labor attorney, and we are very comfortable that it's a very fair and equitable contract for the town, first of all, and for Mr. Harrington. And I can assure you that this type of payout is not included in this new contract, and I think it's important that the public understand that. And we're very excited that Paul Harrington will be sworn in next Monday to assume the role of town manager. To some notes on the budget, this board, and I say this board, all of us sitting here inherited a very difficult fiscal situation. First, we had a police department that really was in disarray. It had been allowed to work without a contract. The officers worked without a contract for 1.5 years or more. They were the third, or thereabouts, the third lowest paid police department in the state of Connecticut. Our ranks had dwindled down to, I think the number was 14 at one point. 14 officers to protect our town for 3 shifts, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The number we're supposed to have is 21. We're extremely shorthanded. The board, Bob negotiated with the union, brought back a contract that made our police now at least in the top 50% of the towns in the state of Connecticut in terms of pay and benefits. We've stopped the bleeding, we've hired new officers, and we expect to be able to continue to be competitive to recruit and bring police to town. But it costs money. Clearly, it impacted this current budget. We've also faced, since COVID, nationally, volunteerism has dwindled dramatically in all areas, and we're suffering from lack of volunteers in our ambulance corps. It has become more and more serious situation as we've had multiple calls on certain days where other towns have had to come go to our calls, and the other towns have notified us that they cannot continue to back us up the way they'd been doing. To fix that, we had to budget an additional $400,000 for another full-time crew to be available to handle ambulance calls during the prime times that these occurred during the day. Again, part of the budget that wasn't in last year that we had to deal with this year. We also continue to own more than 200 properties, and we're working with both Bob and we'll be working with Paul to work very hard to get some of these properties back into the marketplace. I realize that many of them are these so-called picnic lots that are around Highland Lake, but there are many people who would like to purchase those, and that revenue could come into the town. Many of the people who would like to purchase those would do so and even give up any rights to build on them. They just want to own the land. So we have to look at these opportunities in addition to the picnic lots to sell more of the property around town that the town owns. We've got to get it back on the tax rolls, and we got to take the money in to sell those properties. We also face unique education expenses. Everybody who's in this town understands how our education system works. It's unusual to have 2 boards of ed. It's unusual to have 2 superintendents, yet we have it in our small town, and we have to budget for that. Education is clearly an important investment. If you want to attract families to town, you have to invest heavily in education. It's one of the main factors people look at when they come here. So we've had to look at that budget. And you mentioned one of our person who spoke first asked about that budget. That budget is done by the Board of Ed and delivered to us. We have really no input on what goes into that budget. We simply ask for a concession, and that's what we've done, and the Board of Ed is working hard to get us that concession, both from Gilbert and our own board. So it's not a budget we even control here. Finally, this is everyone's budget. Everybody in town is going to be faced with what this budget does from a tax perspective and a services perspective. This board has worked incredibly hard over the last several weeks looking for everywhere we could make cuts that didn't impact horribly the services and safety primarily of our town. You know, we have looked at this budget and we're calling it a public safety and education budget because really that's where most of the extra money has been spent. And it's so critical, and I personally feel that as a member of this board, our number one job is public safety. Whether it's talking about the police, whether it's talking about fire, whether it's talking about the ambulances, or even the condition of the roads, our number one responsibility is public safety. And I'm proud of the things that we've accomplished with that police contract and that we're funding the ambulance and we're working with Public Works to get more roads paved as quickly as they can do it. But it's a hard budget for us to put together. There's no one up here that wants to bring tax increases to this town at all. And how we can do it without some type of increase is becoming more and more challenging. So I just wanted to make some comments about this budget because it really faces all of us. Thank you.
Other selectmen?
Yeah, I just have some questions for you and the board. There's a process to the budget, and are we going to meet again? Are we gonna send the budget as it is? Because there has to be a motion to send this budget to the town meeting, and whether we do it tonight or we have a special meeting.
I was gonna address that in my comments, but okay.
Well, I mean,
Next.
well, I mean, yeah, I know, but I mean, we need to know how we're all gonna work, what we're gonna do with this. So,
I think that we should meet at least one more time next week when Paul is here for his thoughts on the budget, because he's gonna have to work with it. It's gonna be his budget when Bob steps back into retirement again. Until the next time.
We know how to find you.
So I think that it would be appropriate to meet maybe Tuesday or Wednesday next week, maybe Wednesday. Gilbert's meeting on Thursday, you said? Wednesday. So maybe we meet on Thursday. So
I can't meet Thursday.
okay, so Tuesday or Wednesday, I would say would be appropriate.
I left my
You want to wait till
calendar
next
home.
week, or should we meet this week?
Well, I was figuring once Paul is on board,
Oh, gotcha, understand.
that's why.
Yep, no, I
selected next
understand.
week. We have until probably next Thursday to make any additional changes to the budget.
Let's meet on Tuesday then.
Okay, Tuesday?
I have no idea.
Okay. Look at your calendar.
Tuesday is a ZBA meeting in this room. I don't know if we want to have this room available for our next and last budget meeting. We ended up moving it in here last time.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we'll see if we can have them move to the Blue Room, if the Blue Room's available.
Or we move to Wednesday, the 24th.
Can you do
I'd
Wednesday?
rather have an extra day if we need it.
We can move, they can move to another day.
Okay.
Yeah, ZBA small, you know that.
All right, so Tuesday,
I mean, we could also meet this week,
okay.
you know, because I know that we want Paul to see the budget and interact with the budget, but he does not know the basis of it, he does not know the complexities in it yet. To have him comment on it right away might be a little unfair unless he's been doing something I don't know about with looking at it. I have no information on that. So it wouldn't hurt to have it this week and then have another one next week if need be.
All right, what's the rest of the week look like for everyone?
I'm going away Thursday and Friday and the entire weekend, so
Wednesday?
I have another meeting on Wednesday.
Oh, so maybe it is next week.
Sorry, I can't change that one. It's been the same since 1897, so.
You've been going to that one a long time.
Well, not quite that long.
You're old,
but,
Bill.
Yeah.
So we're back to the
Baby.
23rd? Or the 23rd?
Tuesday, is that Tuesday?
Yes.
Yes.
23rd,
7 o'clock work?
yes.
But you said you had a couple things. Did you have another one?
Well, I just think that it would, what Paul said was well said. I just think that when we start working towards the budget, when we go to the town meeting, and especially next week too, is to talk about the dollar drivers. Anne Marie gave us a sheet tonight. It's important to know the top drivers in this budget are, well, the Board of Ed. The Board of Ed is at $1,014,555. The police salaries and changes that have been made there are at $691,209. And ambulance is at $240,000. Taken together, those are 2.1 million of the increase that's being proposed. If those are not, in order to fund those, because they're not unfundable, you have to fund those, we would have to take from other departments, which Anne Marie has designated as all other department changes are only $194,000 in changes. And then there's a few other ones with, health service and stuff like that. So I think it's important to put those numbers out there, because when Paul said it's a tough budget, it's a tough choice, is because it is. It is, you can't fund ambulance and police and the schools. And then I think after that, with our new town manager, is the economic development piece. I know that, we talk about these small properties to sell, but that's not gonna do it. We need to, as we started a while ago, to have a conversation with a couple of our staff members about economic development, the Route 800 corridor, the rest of Main Street, small businesses coming in. There's got to be, and I know the board, having worked with everybody here for a few months, is I think that's where we have to make sure that with the town manager that we go as much economic development as we can. Because the other change that's happened is, in the grand list, per business property didn't grow enough to offset the $291,687 in loss of revenue from the last grand list. So we're fighting the, funding important things going forward at a loss of grand list, and I think that we need to really, and I look at it, and that's why I made some decisions I've made. It's about the economic development. And I think we need to go right at that and try to find a way to look at small businesses that are in place and can grow. Some of our industrial parks, look at those and help them to grow. I think we have some really good people in positions to make that happen, and so I look forward to that. But so that's where I think, when we talk about the budget and the presentation, I think some of that should make sure that we push that through.
And I just want to repeat what I've repeated at the Board of Ed. We need to bring in $1 million. We need 250 homes, brand-new homes, paying $4,000 a year. 250 brand-new homes for $1 million in our budget.
Is Anne Marie still there? Anne Marie, what is the mill rate now? Because, the numbers changed from the last one I had. Where are we at right now? And it's still excluding the grant money for the social service director? That 50 grand is still in there or no?
No, that money was left in there.
Yes.
There was no motion in the past to take that out of there.
Right.
I haven't put up on the computer what the difference was, what the impact was.
Okay. I'd like to know what the mill rate is as of right now, the way we sit.
I believe we're at 255.
Please?
The increase was 255, so what's 26?
We're at 255.
2894, I believe my math is correct.
2.55.
Right, 2894.
Henry, do we increase that? Was an addition on top of the 255? I think that was the last one.
I think that was the last one.
That was the last one.
That was with the
Give me a minute,
increase.
because I gotta log on here.
Yep.
2894, Bill.
2894.
2894, if we added the total additions, the 2894 with the reinstatement of the police.
Yes.
Oh, we're at 2.65 with that
I
reason.
thought so too, that's what I have written down, that's why I'm
Yeah.
asking.
No,
I think that's what it was, and then we'd add 1.54.
And then we had the 50 for the thing, but that's gonna come out because of grants.
2894 is correct.
What is it?
2894.
that's, we increased the policeman, then took out the 50 for the bond, for the funding for the,
No, we didn't take that out.
We left it.
you
No,
left that in?
the 50 in.
The 50 is in, okay, 28.
Anything else, Ray?
No, I'm just, I'm not comfortable sending a 2894 mill rate to the public, so I think we need to do our due diligence before we go to referendum, that's all.
Look at it again. As far as the 200 properties, I kind of agree. I think we need to get rid of them. The town's not in the real estate business. Every property we can bring back on, bring some revenue back into this town, whether it be small or not, I think they gotta go. We shouldn't be in the real estate business whatsoever. That's a lot of properties, small or large. We need to move them.
So, since the social service director position did not get voted out of, but we are supposed to get grants, can I make a motion right now on that to eliminate that and make that part-time if the taxpayers get stuck paying the bill? Because we had on the agenda, there was budget discussion, correct?
Right.
Right. I thought that we had funded 50% of it at the first meeting.
The first meeting was presented to us that we wanted, that we're gonna leave the position in as it was. However, we were getting $50,000 in a grant to pay for it. And we all made the decision based on getting that grant that we would leave it the way it was. And then we found out last week that that grant is maybe.
I thought we voted to fund 50,000 of it.
I don't think so. We voted to keep the position in.
Anticipating a $50,000 grant, which we
Right.
don't have on the books yet, so we really can't record that.
So I'd like to make a motion
We
right
can't.
now. I just asked and he said he could.
There's nothing, no agenda item to do it.
Yeah,
Oh, we don't have it on the
it's on
agenda, I'm
budget.
sorry.
We'll do it on the.
You have another meeting coming up, you bring it up at that
At the
meeting.
next meeting.
if
I
you
just
wanna vote
asked
on
you, I
it.
thought you said I
know.
could do it.
I was incorrect. Second time,
Hey, it's right there.
Ever.
ever.
Yeah.
And then, so I'll just finish up here. This coming Saturday, April 20th at 11 a.m. at Healy Little League Field. It's the kickoff for the youth baseball and softball seasons. Public's welcome to attend. It's Saturday. It's the field over there on Willow Street with the fence around it. And lastly, in a perfect world, I would have loved to send out the original budget that was proposed. But I've been up here on this board long enough to know that there would have been a lot of pushback from the community on a tax increase that large. The three big drivers this year are emergency services. We have an aging population in town, unfortunately. That aging population has a tendency to require emergency services. I worked in the city of Hartford for a long time, and it was not uncommon to call for an ambulance for someone having a seizure, a drug overdose, or something else, and having them say, "We don't have anyone right now, you're gonna have to wait." That wait turned into 30 minutes, 45 minutes. One time it was even an hour and 15 minutes for an ambulance for someone in need. That's something that I never want to put our citizens or anyone in town through. Calling 911 at the time of need that you're in and having them say, "We don't have anyone right now, just hold on." That's not something that should be acceptable, in my opinion, and that's why I think it's important that we support the emergency services part of the budget. The other big increase is from the educational system. Without education systems, the town's not gonna be able to function, because that's not gonna draw new families to town to help grow our grand list through residential property sales. So those are three things that are very important for the budget: the education system, police, ambulance, and to an extent fire, as they're also starting to act as first responders because of the shortage of volunteers at the ambulance. So those are things that you need to keep in the back of your head, yes, it's gonna be a tough budget, but where are we gonna cut if the budget fails? And you have to keep these things in mind. With that,
We adjourn.
Second.
all in favor? Unanimous.
We are gonna do it